You're listening to Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles, episode 74, featuring Amazing Spider-Man number 218 and Uncanny X-Men number 147 from April 1981. Hello and welcome to the 74th episode of Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Pat, aka DJ Christatos. Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles is a podcast that will journal the Amazing Spider-Man comic book issues read chronologically by the release date, along with another comic from my collection, either in digital, in a trade, or from the many long boxes stashed away in my basement. Each episode will provide short recaps, reviews, and ratings of the issues for this release date. The goal is to keep me actively reading through my collection and having some fun along the way, speaking about these comics with my friends. And you know what? 74 episodes down, or just about down. We're getting to 75. Man, have we been reading some comic books, and we have definitely been having some fun along the way.
I've had fun on at least 4 of these episodes.
And you know what? And that's all that really matters. As long as you've had that much fun. How much more fun could you have?
Let's find out, Pat.
Yeah, let's do that. Speaking about having some fun along the way and friends, let's talk to Jarrett, a.k.a. Death Probe. Jarrett, how are you?
I am good, my friend.
Hey, everybody. It's me, Bifferino.
Oh,
hey, Pat, you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Oh, hey, Chumpo. Move along. Get your own coffee.
Let's go, Bunky.
I just got biffed.
That was my bit. Back to you.
That was a good bit. I like that bit. I did. I had a joke all ready to go. Jason came in and was like, oh, he's ruining my joke. But I was like, his joke is really good. So, whatever. It all worked out. It always does.
You got the old Biffer. He just did that.
The old Biffer just swooped right in there. But Pat, I was about to tell you,
yes,
I had an amazing opportunity this week, in my yard sailing adventures. Mm-hmm. Saw this guy, Craigslist. He's selling a trebuchet.
A what?
A trebuchet. Jason knows what it is. A trebuchet.
That's a little whip thingy that throws like the little rocks at castles and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a catapult that's even launches further than a catapult.
Yeah.
Does it go like?
Yeah, So I was like, I read, reached out to the guy. I was like, where'd you get this thing? He's like, it's vintage. He's like, it's medieval. It was imported from Europe. Like, this is a real legit trebuchet. And I was like, I gotta ask, what's your best price? And he was like, can't go lower than $6,000. And I was like, a little out of my range. But I knew it was a long shot.
So did you get it?
What did you counter offer? But how does the story end? I don't.
We got you out of range, but I knew it was a long shot. That was the punchline.
We knew. We just.
It's a joke, really. That was specifically for Jason, and I knew that going in.
Well,
I knew
you
it.
Set yourself up because I thought you were for real, like some guy had built a trebuchet.
I told you it was a joke coming up.
It's like, get on a plane, go see the
trebuchet. Well, we don't have Delvin the Dark Web here with us tonight. He is busy right now. Him and his wife are enjoying some Beyonce. So good for them. If you like it, better put a ring on it.
Swing a ring on it. And
But we do have with us some live club members in the super secret all access chat, watching along with us as we are doing this, record it live in front of a Crusader Club members. So we do appreciate them stopping by.
I'm going to shout out to him, Pat. I'm going to shout out to Auburn Elvis and Kathy and Matt Passo have joined us tonight in the super secret chat.
Super secret.
How do they get the access, Pat? How does that happen?
Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. You can get the secret access just by going to patreon.com, looking up Longbox Crusade, and joining for as little as $1. $1 gets you all the access.
Wait a minute. $1 per episode that they come to watch, or
no, Jared, not at all.
$1 per what?
For everything.
All right. What?
All the access. Yes, it gets you all the access, Jared.
So it's like $1 a month?
It is $1 a month.
How are you going to run a successful business charging people $12 a year for all this access?
I don't know. That's why we're crazy.
$1 for every episode I'm on. I don't understand this.
Jason pays $1 per episode.
Jason pays $1 every month, yes, to get on the episode. But for those club members, just $1 gets them all this.
Let me just say this. Wow.
Exactly. Enough said. And with that, you can also be part of the show as well, too, by going and leaving us a voice message that we may play later on in the show. Leave us a message at 707-532-5269. That's 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
Now, before we get started with this episode's issues, let's take a quick podcast promo break, and we will be right back.
Hello, soldiers. I'm Jared Albrecht, the Yard Sale Artist, codenamed Death Probe, and I'm here to give you your orders to join me and my elite podcasting squad for G.I. Joe Chronicles. Who makes up this elite squad, you may ask? It starts with my right-hand man, Pat Sampson. Tell him your codename and specialty, Pat.
Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. My codename is DJ Christados, and on G.I. Joe Chronicles, I specialize in G.I. Joe comic books, Marvel, Devil's Due, IDW. We cover them all. But there's so much more in the G.I. Joe Chronicles universe, and that's where our first sergeant comes in. He's Jim Mill. Sound off with your codename and specialty, Jim.
My specialty is everything else G.I. Joe. I'm going to talk about some comics too, but I'm also going to look at the G.I. Joe property from lots of different angles, including, but not limited to, the toys, cartoon, puzzles, train sets, bed sheets, Halloween costumes, you name it, and there's probably a Joe version of it, and I'm going to let you know it exists.
You forgot to tell the troops your codename.
Oh yeah, codename Weasel Skull.
I don't think you can have that one. I think it's taken.
Dang. How about codename Weasel Skull?
Strangely enough, that's also taken.
Orsted.
Oh, that's like a beautiful name, man. We could be cosmically...
Okay, never mind. I got it. Codename Dark Web.
No.
Pop Pop Hiss?
No.
Pimp Destro.
No.
Hot Thing?
No.
While my battle buddies get that ironed out, I invite you to join us for G.I. Joe Chronicles. You can listen to it on its own solo feed wherever podcasts are found, or catch it under the Longbox Crusade Network umbrella. We look forward to seeing you at Fort Longbox.
Yo, Joe! Okay, how about Jim the Joe Junkie?
Maybe. Welcome back from the break. Now let's get to the first featured comic for this episode, and it is Amazing Spider-Man number 218. The credits for this issue are provided by Mike's Amazing World of Comics. Publisher was Marvel. It's got a cover date of July 1981. Its on sale date was April 7th, 1981. Cover price is 50 cents. Editor was Alan Milgram. Writer was Dennis J. O'Neill. Penciler John Romita Jr. Inker, Jim Mooney. Inker, Alan Milgram. 2 inkers on this one. Letterer, James R. Novak. Colorist is Bob Sharon. This is reprinted in Essential Spider-Man Volume 10 trade paperback. Also, the Marvel Masterworks Volume 283 of Amazing Spider-Man Volume 21 hardcover. Cover credits go to Frank Miller. Ooh, I bet you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I read the issue.
I didn't know that either. Oh, again.
It doesn't really say it in the issue. Yeah, I don't think it has it in looking at it, because when I put this information together, I'm like, really? Where does it say it in the inside? But hey, it is a Frank Miller cover.
Tot Cheeks Miller.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and go to Jarrett for the cover description.
Okay, so it's important to note that I wrote this cover description before I read the issue. And it's important to note, I wasn't here last recording where we covered the issue that led to this issue. So I had no idea who that was in the background. Okay, it's important to know that when you read the cover description, because there's some things in the cover description that are not exactly accurate. And with that, here we go. The Marvel Comics Group banner is yellow with bonfire red letters. Spidey is swinging in his yellow corner box, a box like you'd maybe find graham crackers in. The Amazing Spider-Man logo is marshmallow white with red highlights, and it includes the webs. The main action shows a giant toasted lava monster looming over the city. Spider-Man is seen from the back, squaring off against the monster, spider sense tingling on the rooftops. He might be dropping his own Hershey chocolate right about now. A cover blurb reads, in Manhattan stalks a monster. Thought it was a lava monster, so I did a whole s'mores.
I noticed the s'mores joke. Yeah. Give up or get thirsty for s'more.
So
it does look like a s'more little.
I thought it was a lava. I thought it was like a lava bonfire. It made me think of s'mores. Little did I know it was just mud. This is mud.
Just a mud monster.
But after I read it, I was like, should I change the cover description? And I thought, you know what? No. I went to all that trouble to work those s'mores references in there.
I think it was all right.
Sometimes less is s'more.
He is really clenching there, isn't he?
He is like a toiger.
With the cover description out of the way, let's go ahead and get some quick cover thoughts. And we'll start with Jason. What's your thoughts on the cover?
It's interesting. Till Jared gave his perspective, I didn't realize that without any context, you don't know who this monster is. If you read the previous issue, you have a good idea. But otherwise, it kind of looks like Clayface a little bit on the cover. So that was kind of my first thought. Overall, I think the cover is all right. I like the Spider-Man. There's a lot of detail on Spider-Man. I like the spider sense. That's kind of a unique take to the traditional, having the red spider sense there. That's kind of cool. I don't know. That might be a color wheel thing. We'll let Jared talk about that later. The other thing that I like is the way that the city is laid out. You have in the foreground left, you have a lot of detail on the city. Then you have in the middle ground right, you get some detail, but not quite as much. And then in the background, kind of center, you have just kind of that gray outline. So it gives kind of a multi-dimensional look to the cover, which I think is pretty cool. The one detracting thing is it looks like the Spider-Man pose, he should be posed on the side of a building or something, the way his toes are kind of pushed down, like he's about to push off of something. And so it just kind of looks like he's free floating there in an awkward kind of pose, in my opinion, in the foreground. So other than that, good cover, not one of the best. I'll pass it.
I was thinking too that the pose was kind of rakishly different, not super rakish, but I liked it. I thought it was really neat. And I just like the loominess of this monster that's coming at you. And you're right. If you didn't know what it was, you know, you would be like, well, who's this? What's going on? But now that I know the story and we know reading the previous issues, I can understand what's happening. But I like it. I think it's just really cool of just like a menacing coming over the city and the detail in some of the cityscapes. And most of all, for me, it's the colors. The colors make things pop on this one. What do you think, Jared? What's your thoughts on it?
Largely echo Jason. Yeah, it's basic, but it does a lot with its basicness because you can glance at it and say, oh, Spider-Man's danger sense. This is pretty scary. Giant monster looming over cityscape, New York. Of course, I thought it was a lava monster. Again, I hadn't read the issue leading up to this or the issue yet when I wrote it. I did read them both, though. I did play catch up. So, and I remember Jason did that on an episode one time. And so I might fall into the Jason trap of talking about things that happened in the last issue. If I do that,
fine.
Feel free to straighten me out. That's no problem. But back to the cover. Yeah, I just got to echo Jason. I like it. And, you know, learning that it was Frank Miller does make it even slightly more interesting. So, yeah, I'll just echo what you guys say. It's cool.
It is interesting to see this, you know, I want to say early Frank Miller. I mean, this is 81, right? That this is out. So interesting, very interesting. And I guess we'll go into it too with the dual inkers in this issue as well too. But with that, let's go ahead and get into some cover ratings. As a reminder of our rating system, it is a 1 through 5 rating system. 5 is you loved it. It tickled your tummy feathers. 4, you really liked it. 3, you liked it. 2, didn't like it. And And one, you hated it. It ruffled your tummy feathers. Yeah. Oof. I don't like it at all. With that, Jarrett, back to you for your cover rating.
You know, if Joe November was here, I'd give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I can see that. But you know what? I don't see Joe here right now.
I don't either. So am I going to round up or am I going to round down? I'll round up since it's Frank Miller and that's unique. So I'll give it a 4. It's remember how we used to do like the weatherman talk? It's got like a low pressure 4.
It's a low 4. It's a low 4, yeah.
But yeah, I'll give it the 4. I'll give the extra half point for Frank.
All right. Well, I am with you at a 4. And I think what I like about it, I just like the colors. It's like, this just pops for me. It's like, I don't know, looking at it just makes me want to open it up and go inside of it.
You know, I know my turn is over, but it kind of really, it does that intersection of Spider-Man and sort of classic movie monster, King Kong, Godzilla feel. And that's kind of fun. You can't deny that that's fun.
Yeah, you can't, looking at this, you can't deny that it isn't kind of fun looking at this. And now that I read it, I know what the story's about. And that's what I like. So it gives me a memory on it. Jason, are you with us on a 4?
No, fellas, I can't go as high as a 4. I'm going to stay at a 3. I think that it's a pretty decent cover. What really kind of sinks it for me is I almost get the feeling that the Spider-Man was kind of drawn separately in a pose and then plopped onto this background. Like it came as 2 pieces and it just doesn't quite fit for me. So I'll stick with a 3. I mean, technically it's pretty good. I really like that cityscape and I like the red spider sense, but yeah, the Spider-Man just doesn't seem to quite fit with the rest of the cover to me. So 3 for me.
All right, going to the chat. We got Auburn Elvis giving it an illegal 3.5. That's your yellow card, Auburn Elvis. Matt Passo gives it a 3. Kathy says she agrees with the 3s. And then Auburn Elvis decides to downgrade it to a 3.4. Red card penalty to the locker room. You can only comment from the locker room at this point.
Now it's time to get into a story synopsis. And this time, it is actually brought to you by Delvin. While attending a demonstration in radiology, high school student Peter Parker was bitten by a spider which had accidentally been exposed to radioactive rays. Through a miracle of science, Peter soon found that he had gained the spider's powers and had, in effect, become a human spider, a Spider-Man. Stanley presents The Amazing Spider-Man.
The title of this issue is Eye of the Beholder. Sandman and Hydra Man have merged into one gigantic mud pile, basically, so surely we're going to see Spidey and Mudman battle it out in a tale as old as time, right? Nope. We're instead treated to a tale, bittersweet and strange. But first, Mudman knocks Spidey the F out. There's your action, ever just the same. Mudman makes his way to the apartment of Sadie Frickett, ever a surprise, whom Sandman and Hydra Man both had a thing for, remember? Spidey was going to attack again, but around Sadie, Mudman is ever so docile. After a Matt Murdock appearance, Sadie is beset by an agent who wants to put her and Mudman in a Broadway show. Broadway is where you can hear tunes as old as song, and anyway, the show is on with big old Mudman and Sadie, with Pete there doing his Daily Bugle gig, of course. Things go sideways when Sadie makes out with the agent. Neither one prepared for Mudman raging out at this, and while Spidey, overmatched as he would have been, was set to enter the fray, Sadie calms Mudman down again, only to have Mudman scale a building with her in tow. NYPD was prepared with a binding mixture that disintegrated Mudman. Spidey rescues a falling Sadie, and as certain as the sun, the threat is ended. But Sadie's heart may as well be too, because the thing who loved her is no more. Did you guess the thing? If you're a Peebo Bryson and Regina Bell fan, you might. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast. Back to you, Pat.
Oh, Delvin, I love it when you sing and tell a whimsical tale.
I give it a 2. For the record, I saw in the chat, Kathy nailed it, by the way, Beauty and the Beast, while that audio was playing.
Very well done, Delvin. Thank you so much for doing that audio track for us. Even though you weren't going to be here, we do appreciate it. And thank you, Kathy, for guessing it right away. I had a little bit feeling of what he was doing, but I just went with it. And he swept me away with that fairy tale of a story that he told with that voice. And then, man.
Oh, tear in my eye.
Yeah. Little sand in my eye, All right. Well, let's get into some bric-a-brac for this issue. Is it a first read or a reread? Jared.
I've seen King Kong, but it is a reread.
Ooh. It's a reread?
No, it's a first read.
Oh, first read for you. Okay.
Don't correct my jokes. It sickens me.
Oh. I didn't know. I can remember.
I messed it up, and I don't like you pointing it out.
Jared messed it up, y'all.
Delvin singing got me all.
Yeah, I know. He got you all frummunkled. Jason, first read or a reread?
First read for me.
It is a first read for me, too. So you know what that means. Woo!
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Awesome. I love it. We rainbowed. Can we do it again? We'll find out. Let's go to the high, lows, or what does. And we'll start with Jason. You got a high, low, or what the for the first round?
I think for my high, I'm going to choose the character Sadie, man. We were all making fun of her. She was the butt of all the jokes in the last issue. We were all talking about how could Hydra Man and Sandman be fighting over her and blah, blah, blah. And even Peter Parker himself and Spidey were, they were saying the same thing. They were making fun of her the whole time. And even kind of at the beginning of it. But holy cow, whose heart didn't melt a little bit the way when that monster was there? She still loved that monster because that monster had the best parts of both the people that were vying for her affection. And in the end, I felt a bit of heck yeah when Peter tells that agent, like, you better shut your mouth or I'm going to pop it.
Yeah.
When he was like, you're turning down all this money for this love for this monster. What are you, a weirdo? And you better shut your mouth or I'm going to pop it. And I was like, you go, Spider-Man. And you go, Sadie. Way to just kind of turn this butt of the joke character I've never heard about before into somebody that I'm going to remember from here on out.
For a while, yeah. Mm-hmm. When you bringing that up makes me think back of, this is probably her third comic appearance that she's in. The last issue was a lot more. But we seen Denny kind of having her show up in a few issues. So just thinking about that makes me go, wow, that's really some good character development and just the sprinkling of it and the storytelling that I so much love about these Spider-Man stories we've been going to is these little pieces that eventually become something big and have a impactful, kind of ending to the story. Maybe we'll see her again. Maybe we know Sandman and Aquaman or not Aquaman, but
Hydro-Man.
Hydro-Man, yes. Hydro-Man's going to come back probably. So will she come back too? Or were they still kind of, try to find her again and,
But to your point, even if she doesn't,
then
he gave her an arc,
Yeah. And I didn't think that, I would never saw that coming.
I didn't either. And I think this is what makes, I don't know, this might turn into a little nostalgia talk, but for me, it's what makes these comics great. I mean, I still enjoy the comics today, but it's all about the spectacle now with these comics and moving from one big massive story and then reaching shuffling the whole thing and do another big, massive story. And this is about really telling the tale from Sadie's point of view in a lot of places. And it's like, wow, this is really giving depth to this universe and giving this character a story. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Jarrett, you got high, low, or what the?
Well, Pat, I didn't read it, but if I did, I would probably really enjoy from a more, what's the word? Schadenfreude? Is that the word that I'm looking for?
Yes, it is.
Perspective of Biff, Charlie, Bravo, Rifkin. All right. This guy, this guy, it's just such a delightful little sub story because Peter's getting exactly what he deserves.
Yes.
But like in the worst way. It's just he's like not likable at all, but it's like this is what you signed up for, Pete, when you took a pass on them pancakes. Like I just can't get enough of this Biff. I just want to watch, like, I don't know, is there another shoe to drop? I don't remember. He just seems like,
I don't know.
Press the palm, Pete, you know? Hey, buddy.
Hey,
like, does he
This
genuinely
guy is a
like
death by 1,000 cuts.
Do you think he really likes Peter? Is he just like being a dick? I can't
don't know.
tell.
I don't know. I love it though too. And it was all of a sudden I'm reading, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, maybe he's gonna get back with Debbie. And all of a sudden next thing I was like, oh no.
This
Biff
guy,
showed up.
he's all like, well, I caught her a little early. Rifkin won't be here for another hour, 45 minutes. Rifkin's like, hey, everybody,
Hey,
I
buddy.
showed up early. There's no way I can stay away from Debbie that long. Like, seriously?
My CD
Dang.
sense was tingling. Something's going on.
Like, what?
I decided to show up early.
You'd have to be an idiot to
this
let
guy,
this
I
kid
don't
go.
know whether or not I like him or don't like him, to be honest with you. I can't tell. And that's what makes it fun. Like, I want to know more.
Yeah, exactly. And and I think that's, again, it goes back to that character building that's been going on with these stories, and they sprinkle them in just enough until it comes to a little bit more and a little bit more. And oh man, I am definitely enjoying these issues so far. We had a lull for a little bit, but I think we're getting on a nice train, and it's riding, and I'm looking forward to where we're going with this. I want to bring up Spidey's kind of beating up I don't want to say beating up the mud, but he gets beat up by the mud monster guy. I'm going to call him the mud monster guy instead of mud thing. But man, he took a whooping from him a little bit, and just some of the other fighting in here as well too. This really wasn't a lot of big fighting in this one that I was kind of hoping for them to kind of really do a brawl down, but it was all right. I think this was more of some of a character moment issue, if that, because even in we'll get to the silly Spidey. Finding some silly Spideyness could be hard as well too. What did you guys think of the Spider-Man getting beaten down?
I kind of liked it. I mean, in a way, again, it was one of those things. I don't know exactly what Spider-Man was thinking. He was going up against this large opponent, which he knew nothing of. And he's like, well, maybe I can cold cock it because the creature was pretty much ignoring him the whole time.
Yeah.
And so his strategy didn't quite work out. I guess the thing that I would say was most interesting to me was the art through it. Because again, we've read a lot of Spider-Man comics with really great art and great artists that have depicted great battles. But there's just something about Romita where it looked like when he just kind of flicks him with the finger off his shoulder, and you see Spider-Man just go into those crates. Boy, it looks rough for our boy. And even though it was a kind of a smaller fight scene, I think that the art was just really good and just depicted how overmatched Spider-Man was strength-wise. So it did its job really well.
Let's go ahead and go into round 2 of high, lows, or what does. And this time we'll go reverse and start with Jared. You got a high, low, or what the?
I have a high. It's 2 words. Yellow vest.
You bringing back those yellow Peter Parker vests?
Peter rocked a yellow vest, and it was something, man. It was something. That's all. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what else to say, but yellow vest. It was a bold choice.
He put that yellow vest on for Debbie too. You know he did.
It's like when you have to turn your pictures into Jameson by 3, but you also have crossing guard duty at 3:45.
Yeah, Peter's he's a good looking kind of guy. He likes to dress sharp for what he's doing. You got to dress for the job you want, right? Maybe crossing guard.
Dress for the job you want, not the one you have. That's right.
No crossing guard, or perhaps like the guy at the circus who's like, ladies and gentlemen, the ringmaster. I knew there was a
ringmaster. There you go. That would be a villain. A ringmaster sounds like a villain's name.
Could be a Walmart greeter.
Yeah, that too. Jason, do you have a high, low, or what the?
I'm going to give another high, a shout out to the cops. This issue, man. Our boys in blue in New York City are not fazed at all by a giant 40-foot friggin' monster. I love the line when Spider-Man asks him, "You're not going to hurt him, or what are you going to do to him?" And like, well, we're certainly not going to sing to him. They're breaking out the big gap. It reminded me kind of like Ghostbusters, cigarettes all half hanging out of their mouths, just about to go into battle against them. They have no idea what it is. And then they take it down, and then at the end, of course, they're on cleanup detail and they're like, hurry up, we're not putting in any overtime. It's another day in the life for our boys in blue in New York City with these heroes. I love it.
Reminds me of my favorite Marvel cop of all time is still the one in Blade that comes in after the bloodbath and is literally a guy spiked to the wall on fire and he just goes, put him out. It's the best. Well, it's those New York cops, man. They're like, whatever,
Yeah.
Over in DC, they wrote a whole series. It was very good called GCPD, right? That really got to the nuts and bolts of the place. You don't need that in the Marvel universe. They're just like, yeah, whatever. It's Tuesday. Don't care.
Yeah, I was surprised that they were really prepared for taking down this monster. They knew what they needed to do to take him down. I was like, oh, wow. Interesting that they had these chemicals figured out on what to do to take him down. And they had it at the ready. So
yeah. What's the protocol for giant mud monster? Hang on. Let me look it up real quick.
Come on, guys. We trained for this.
Is it under G for giant or M for mud monster? I got to get the right one.
We got those canisters in the back. The expiring date's getting close. So I think we can use this stuff. So let's all go to the opening of the play and see what happens. I want to call out some of the special guest appearances or shout-outs that happened in here. I was surprised to see Matt Murdock and Foggy show up, as Matt Murdock was the lawyer for Sadie, or at least the mud.
Giving a good defense too, man.
Yeah. He did a good defense.
He was caveman lawyering it up.
Justice wasn't blind on that one. He did a good job.
I knew you were going to. I knew it.
No,
I knew you were going to do it. I was like, will he dare? Will this little devil dare? And you did.
I did. But I liked that little part. And I also liked, they did this twice. They did like 1 week later. And then you have, next thing it jumps to the courtroom. And then it goes another week later. And it goes, well, to see about what happened in between, they do an editor's note about go see Peter Parker this issue and go see this other issue. So there's 2 issues that they reference. And I thought that was really cool to see, here's what happens in the meantime as Spider-Man fights these other 2 guys. I thought that was very cool. And I like that. Helps build that lore and the world around Spider-Man.
I'm still going to Murdoch you 2 points for that.
Good one. All right. Well, with that, does anybody have any other thing you want to bring up for this issue?
Did I mention the yellow vest?
You did.
Okay, you did. Yeah. I know what I'm getting you for Christmas now.
A camera and a yellow vest. All right. With that, let's go ahead and get to the silly Spidey for this issue. And I'm going to spill mine right away because Jason actually kind of alluded to it right away. I liked the cop part where to me, I found that was the funniest part where Spider-Man asked, well, what are you going to do? And he goes, well, we're not going to invite him to the fireman's ball or the policeman's ball, the policeman's ball. And I was like, oh, okay. That's a funny one. That was a funny one for me. Garrett, do you have a silly Spidey moment?
I do. And you got to remember, I wasn't here for the last one. So I don't know when I got my silly Spidey. I didn't know how much dumpage had been done perhaps on Sadie in the previous one. Yeah. But it's interesting that the one that I selected, it's some dumpage on Sadie, but it's Jameson. And you expect that kind of blunt, cruel humor from Jameson. And it's what Spidey says. He's trying to get him to let him go to Winter Gardens to check out the show. And he's like, so you gonna let me go to Winter Gardens? And he says, and photograph a lump of Play-Doh and his ugly lady friend. I'm like, damn, Jameson, why are you like this? But like, because it's him, it's funny to me. Like, I don't know, mean J. Jonah Jameson makes me laugh, I guess, because he's just such a really. I'm more laughing at Jonah's callousness than I am at the joke. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Jason, what's your silly Spidey?
Well, you guys took both the ones that I was thinking about, but I guess I'll just expand it to say the whole interaction between Peter and J. Jonah Jameson was funny to me. I liked when Jonah was looking at those pictures and be like, yeah, some of those are my competitor. It's just like bringing this trash in here. And it's just always kind of funny to see that classic confrontation between J. Jonah Jameson, who has all of the office power, if you will, and Spider-Man, who has none of the office power. Peter Parker, who has none of the office power, but as Spider-Man secretly has all the power. So it's just kind of funny to see that dynamic.
Yeah, definitely is. I'm going to go back again, even though this comic was, what it is, and we'll get to that within the ratings just a little bit. A lot of the characters and storytelling going on. I like all these little vignettes or just little snippets of the rest of the world and character and gangs, the supporting cast around Peter. I like seeing that and just what it may build up to be and go into. All right. Well, with that, let's go into the ratings for this issue. Again, it's a 1 through 5 rating system. 5 is you loved it. It tickled your tummy feathers. 4, you really liked it. 3, liked it. 2, didn't like it. And 1, you hated it. It ruffled your tummy feathers. Ugh. And we'll go to Jason. Start us off with how you would rate the story.
I came into this show prepared to give it a 3. I read it late last night, so I was kind of tired. And I remember thinking I didn't particularly care for the King Kong comparison. I kind of thought like, well, that's lazy story writing. But I've been kind of reading through it again as we've been talking here about it and re-engaging. And I think that in the light of day, I'm going to give it a 4, just because of all the things we talked about. Maybe the main story plot line wasn't the greatest, but the cameos by Matt Murdock, the banter between Spider-Man and the cops, the character development of Sadie, all of those things really are those things that are in the background that make Spider-Man great. And they got some time to shine here. So I'm going to give it a 4.
All right. I can definitely see how you're coming up with that, or, I see your points definitely on that. Jarrett, what's your thoughts?
I like the main story. I like the sub-story with Debbie. I really like the art. I like the concept of the Hydro Man, Sandman mashup or mush up or whatever. So, yeah, I'm going 4.
Ooh, so 2 4s, and then there's me, man.
Well, Auburn Elvis isn't agreeing with us on this one.
Yeah. You know what?
Isn't he the one that gets mad at us when we rate him too low? I swear he is.
I do see you guys' points, and talking with you guys more, it makes me appreciate it. So I'm going to give this one a pretty high 3. I'm at a 3 just because the story, like you said, it was a King Kong kind of a thing,
Boom.
a copy.
Waka waka waka.
Sorry, I can't get there. I can't get there.
I stopped the cover. He stopped the story.
So one cool guy had a 3 with 2 chumps at a.
How are you still the cool guy?
It's a mystery. I know.
The group you're always with is the cool guys.
Well, when you're a cool guy, you're a cool guy. You just, no matter what you do, it's coolness just oozes.
Over in the chat, as we alluded to, Auburn Elvis gave it a 2, maybe a 3, settled on week 3. And Kathy said, and I quote, never read it.
Very good, Kathy. You can come back out of the locker room now.
Speaking about Auburn Elvis, let's go ahead and listen to the karma count for this. How many points did Spider-Man get? Is he moving forward? Is he moving backwards?
I think we should do this like a game show. We should all guess like what the karma count is. And the one who gets closest without going over, like Price is Right,
Okay. Ooh. Well, okay. I'll start us off because I'm really not sure still how this works. I'm going to go with 40 karma points.
40?
Is that too much?
I was thinking 10.
Oh,
10
really?
karma points.
Oh, see,
Jason went low enough to where I'm not going to $1 it, but I'll say 11 just to screw Jason over.
Okay.
Oh,
all right. 10, 11, and
10.
40. Let the games begin.
Now I'm second guessing.
Well, you're going to learn. You'll get better at this on each episode.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and give it a listen.
I guess I'm your karma, and I love it. I can't get enough of it. There's nothing above it.
Hi Crusaders, this is Auburn Elvis, and I bet you've asked yourself, can superheroes improve their strength by working out? Well, according to the 1984 Marvel superhero role-playing game, they can, but it ain't easy. In the game, heroes gain and lose karma points for how heroic their actions are. Karma can be saved up over time and spent to improve a hero's ability scores. Improving an ability costs 10 times its current score, so if Spider-Man wanted to improve his strength of a 40 to a 41, it would cost him 400 karma points. And to give you an idea of how long it would take Spidey to earn that much karma, here's the karma count for his actions in this issue. Amazing Spider-Man 218 starts off with Spider-Man getting whooped by the Sandman, Hydra Man, Mud Monster. But since nobody saw it, it's only a 20-point karma loss for the private defeat. I considered taking away another 5 for the property destruction, but since it was a literal crate and barrel and not the store, I'm gonna let that slide, no deduction there. After he wakes up, Peter heads over to the Bugle, gets 5 karma for delivering those photos. They weren't great, but no other paper has anything better, so there you go. When Webhead catches up to the Mud Monster, there's more property damage, and since Spidey was a part of it, he will lose 10 karma. Also, we don't know whether the new photos looked better than the old ones, but we're going to assume that they do, and that Jameson took them. That's another 5 karma for Peter doing his day job. Then a few weeks go by, which is a very weird way to pace a Spider-Man story. Finally, we're going to get to another fight with the Mud Monster where Spidey loses 10 karma for property damage, but he gains 20 karma for rescuing Sadie. The issue ends with Spider-Man gaining 5 karma for the neat thoughts about the emotional toll the whole thing took on Sadie, but I'm going to take away another 5 karma for not really appreciating the irony of how he pretty much does the exact same thing to Deb in every issue. Now, counting everything up, Spider-Man loses a total of 15 karma in this issue. So yeah, he's not going to improve his strength from a 40 to a 41 like this. Anyway, I'm Auburn Elvis. Thank you very much for listening to this karma count. Play us out, Joe November.
I guess I'm your karma, and I love it. I can't get enough of it. There's nothing above it.
Jason is the winner.
I guess.
Well, technically, I went over too. Yes, because I said positive 10. Holy cow, I didn't know Auburn Elvis was going to dole out karma points like my dad doled out allowance money.
I feel like there's at least 25 karma for the yellow vest, but that's just
yeah. See, I was totally off. I mean, I thought it was, okay, so I got to think of things as 5 and 10s maybe.
Yeah, I think
I'm going to start analyzing these more. Yeah. My goodness.
I'll teach you how to price is right. Here's the thing: you never want to be the guy who goes first, Pat. So we'll make sure you don't have to go first next time. We'll all take turns going first because there's a strategy involved. I'll teach it to you.
I appreciate that. Is there a vest involved? Well,
maybe.
Is that
for now? I still say. I mean, I guess Jason technically went over, so nobody won.
I'll take the prize. I was closest.
But Jason currently is the holder of the Yellow Vest Award.
Yellow Vest. There we go. The yellow karma vest goes to Jason this round. Will he pass it on to somebody next?
Karma for threatening to pop that guy in the mouth if he talked bad about Sadie one more time.
Who knows? But thank you, Auburn Elvis, for doing that. We do appreciate it. And now we have made a game about it.
New feature on the show. And if you want to, next time we do this, time for you guys to put it in the chat as well, or into the comments as well, as far as what your guess is on the karma count. With that, that's going to bring us
guesses in there. I think Matt guessed a 12 and looked like Kathy guessed like 25. So we were all over.
Holy $2. Oh goodness. Well, so there you have it.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of this part of the show. You got a comment or a question, send us an email at contact@longboxcrusade.com or make a comment on the Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook page. We will be right back.
Spider-Man and the Cupcake Caper.
Peter Parker is in Mary Jane Watson's apartment when suddenly he sees a familiar enemy.
MJ, you'll have to excuse me for a minute.
You have this thing, Tiger, and I hate it. Every time there's trouble, you disappear.
Relax, MJ. All I want to do is get some milk you have with these Hostess cupcakes.
Sure, Peter. Anything to avoid reality. But at least this time, you left me with a really delicious snack. Devil's food cake, chocolate, king creamy filling.
I hate having Mary Jane think I'm a coward, but there's no other way I can slip into my Spider-Man role. And only Spidey can handle Man Mountain Marco. Don't look now, Marco, but the mountain just became a molehill.
Webhead, we don't understand you, but we sure appreciate the help.
Thanks, guys. Meanwhile, I've got a quart of grade A to deliver. Sorry it took me so long, MJ, but I got a little bit distracted. Yeah.
Well, no sweat, Peter. The Hostess cupcakes you left me with were a lot more rewarding to me than you ever been.
Brother, if she only knew.
You get a big delight in every bite of Hostess cupcakes.
Welcome back from the break. Now let's get to the second featured comic for this episode, which is determined by our Crusader Club members. Club members get to vote on this segment using the online poll only available on the Longbox Crusade page at patreon.com. As always, we want to thank our Crusader Club members for voting to help determine the programming for this show. If you want to get in on the voting and all the amazing benefits of being a Crusaders Club member, like being a part of a live recording just for the Patreons, like we are doing right now, just head on over to patreon.com and search for Longbox Crusade. You can join us for just as little as $1 per month. That's not a lot. We're not asking for much, but we are giving you much, much more. And you can help determine what each episode's second feature will be. For this episode, the Crusader Club members selected Uncanny X-Men number 147. The credits for this issue are provided by Mike's Amazing World of Comics website. Publisher was Marvel. It's got a cover date of July 1981, but its on sale date was actually April 14th, 1981. Cover price was 50 cents. Editor was Luis Simonson. Writer was Chris S. Still doing it, Claremont. Penciler goes to Dave Cochran.
Esquire. We still love him, even though he hates you, Pat.
Esquire. I got distracted.
Yes. Inker goes to Joseph Rubenstein. Letter goes to Tom Orzakowski. And colorist is the Color My Bad colorist, Rennis Ween. This is reprinted in X-Men Classic number 51. It's also in Essential X-Men Volume 3 trade paperback, or you can find it in Marvel Masterworks Volume 90 of the Uncanny X-Men Volume 6 hardcover, or in the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 2, or in the X-Men Epic Collection I, Magneto trade paperback. Looking at the cover credits go to Dave Cockrum, and inker is Joseph Rubenstein. Speaking about that cover, let's get a cover description from Jared.
You got it. The Marvel Comics Group banner is yellow with red letters, just like the Spidey issue we just talked about. A green corner box contains the floating heads of Wolverine, Colossus, Storm, Kitty, Nightcrawler, and Angel. The Uncanny X-Men logo is white with red highlights, just like the Spider-Man we talked about. The main action is Storm looking fierce. Lightning and wind swirl around her. Her eyes are ablaze, and everyone around her is cowering and panicking. Everyone includes Angel, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Victor Von Doom, PhD, and Colossus. A cover box asks, we did it before. We did it before. Dare we do it again? And a cover blurb proclaims Rogue Storm. Well, it's just Storm. Rogue isn't on the team yet. In fact, I think she's still a villain. her first appearance is in Avengers Annual 10, which would hit the stands just a few months after this issue came out. I'm not sure what that has to do with anything or why I remember stuff like that.
Wow, that's impressive. Your X-Men knowledge is real impressive.
It's growing.
And you say you're not a fan.
Oh boy, this is going to be the episode where I betray all that. I'm going to tell you right now. I like everything about this issue, so let's get going.
Let's get going. All right. Well, with that, then let's go ahead and get going. Let's get some quick cover thoughts on this one, and we will go to Jason.
Well, it's Dave Cockrum, so it's great. We'll just get that out of the way right now. I love that purple background. It really gives it the feeling of that powerful storm that's been brewing for like 3 issues now. And then, of course, you have Storm free from her captivity in the foreground, and she ain't having it. Boy, she looks beautiful. She looks deadly. She is commanding that cover. So much so that I'm remembering back with that cover that we loved with Doom kneeling on all the X-Men when he had Storm in his arm. This is turnabout right here. She's got them all on their knees, and she's out for vengeance. I picked this up and I said, oh boy, I cannot wait to open this cover and read this issue. So expect a good score from me. I'll stop there.
I agree too with you as well, Jason. This was just one that once you saw this cover, you're like, oh yeah, this is some solid Cockrum on this. You know, this has got some good vibes happening in this one. I love it. I think it's really great. Then the coloring, this is another one, like I said, with the Spider-Man one, it's got that coloring that really, really pops on this. Again, just expect some highs in this one. So we'll go to Jarrett.
Yeah, awesome cover. Shout out to whoever inked it. Don't know if it was Joe or if Dave inked it himself. You know, a great way to create menace and scariness for our characters, to do a lot of shadow on them and then blaze the eyes. And that's totally what they did. There's a lot of centerline shadow going on with Storm in this that gives her a real mystique, not the mystique. You know, there's a lot of that going on in this. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like, what? You know, it's menacing and a little scary. And then you throw in the fact that, you know, she's a very sexy character. So you have that sexy, menacing, scary, you know, you end up with the Baroness from G.I. Joe, which is what you end up with, which is a good place to be. I like the swirling effect of the colors. I love the energy that you see in her quote unquote clothes. She's not wearing a lot, but he's able to use that to tell the tale of the swirling winds. Has movement. It's, you know, Dave Cockrum, top of his game. It's really great.
You know, this reminds me kind of like a Phoenix with Gene.
Oh, that's totally what they're getting at when they said we did it before. Will we do it again?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a homage.
I got it. What they were doing. I liked it. It definitely gives you that vibe off of this one. So with that, I think we've gushed and want to gush more about it. But let's go ahead and get into our ratings for this cover. As a reminder, it is a 1 through 5 rating. 5 is you loved it. It gave you a ring to swing from. 4, you really liked it. 3, liked it. 2, didn't like it. And 1, you hated it. It turned you into a baby. Let's go ahead and find out. Jason, 1 through 5. Are you giving it a 5?
Boy, I wanted to initially give it a 5, but then I stopped. I slowed down and I asked myself, would I hang this on the wall, right? If I had to choose one Storm cover to hang from the wall, probably wouldn't be this one. Not that it isn't gorgeous and doesn't represent the story well, but I would want something where she's not so much menacing the other X-Men friends, more in the traditional costume. And then I also thought about the other 5 that I did give to the Doom cover. Mm-hmm. And is it as good as the Doom cover? I can't say it quite. It's close, but it doesn't quite reach that level for me. For those 2 reasons, I'm going to give it a 4.
Pretty nitpicky, but we'll give it to Jarrett. Are you all in on a 5?
I am with Jason on the 4 for the same reason. It's a strong 4. I like it a lot, but it's funny, you know, it must be in the DNA, because I was like, same thought process, like poster. I don't know. I don't like it as a poster because it feels like she's endangering her friends, not uplifting her friends or saving her friends. And that's what holds me back. But man, like artistically, it's great. It conveys the book really well. So really strong 4 for me.
All right. Well, I think you both are wrong, and I'm going with a 5.
I bet you're a cool guy.
Wow, you know,
cool guy.
There's one cool guy with a 5.
2 4 jumps.
Cool yep. You know, Albert and Elvis agrees with me. The cover's a 5, so 2 cool guys with a 5 and 2 chumps at a 4. But I understand what you guys are saying. I really like it. It's just, man, I know it. It's iconic to me. When I see it, I know what the story is going on, and I like it. I like the colors that make it pop as well. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and go into the story synopsis by Jason.
Cyclops, Storm, Banshee, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Colossus, Children of the Atom, students of Charles Xavier, mutants, feared and hated by the world they have sworn to protect. These are the strangest heroes of all. These are the X-Men.
Stan Lee presents the Uncanny X-Men.
The story is called Rogue Storm. So what happened to Nightcrawler? How did he escape? Turns out that crazy SOB teleported as high up as his powers would allow, used his acrobatic ability to catch an updraft from the powerful storm that was raging around him to stall his fall. Then he teleported into a lake. That fuzzy elf has some big fuzzy nuts. And that's pretty much the theme of this book, as each of the X-Men are able to individually escape their unique traps, rendezvous, rescue Storm, and take down Doom. In the end, our merry band of heroes must team with the Tyrant of Latveria, as Storm, driven nearly mad by her imprisonment as a statue, loses control and nearly destroys all around her. After successfully calming down our favorite weather witch, Storm composes herself and even negotiates the terms of Arcade's release, which is a formal apology from Arcade to Doom. Dr. Doom and the X-Men part, not as friends, but with a mutual respect between them. Back to you, Pat.
Thank you, Jason, for that electric synopsis. That's the best weather thing I could come up with at the time. But with that, let's go ahead and get to the bric-a-brac and find out, was it a first read or a reread? Jared, is it a first read or reread for you?
This is a first read for me, Pat.
It is a first read for me as well. Jason.
This is a first read for me as well. We've hit a patch where I've been filling in comics, and this is one that I've just read for the first time recently. Yep.
That is awesome to hear. So it is a double rainbow.
A double rainbow.
Double rainbow.
I love it when we get double rainbows. So much fun. Well, with that, let's go ahead and get into some high, lows, or what does for this issue. And we'll go to Jared. Give us a high, low, or what the.
Oh, man. Get ready for me to pull a Pat. You guys might not.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to hear you. I want to hear you lavish and just go.
If you got nothing but good things to say, I will shut up and give you my talk. Just go. Just go.
I have nothing but good things to say, really, because, okay, let's get the framework right. Like, I wasn't on last episode, so I didn't read. This is basically a 3-issue arc, right? So I didn't read 2, but I went ahead and read it to catch up to 3. You're like, okay, what happened last issue? And man, I strong.
Let me ask you this before you go on. Did you read the whole thing of 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. That's a good
like
start.
I read it, but I was like, whew. This is like where it was the one where they focused more on what's going on with Havoc and his team. And I was like, I don't care. So like, you can really just read 1 and 3 and it's perfectly okay.
I mean, I think you're right on that.
It was decent, but no, this is where it's at. Coming back to this in the 3rd issue of the story arc in number 147 was great. I mean, there's so much I could say. I don't want to take it all. So let's start at the beginning. As soon as you open it up, the first page is cover worthy. the art of the first page is cover worthy. It is Nightcrawler, full page, possibly the best drawing of Nightcrawler I've ever seen. It's really good in the middle of the storm, and the art is just perfect throughout. It is perfect throughout. I know I'm just a ball of energy here, but I'm reading it in Essentials. So it's all black and white. I've seen the pure ink work.
Yeah.
I know Auburn Elvis mentioned the colors of the first few pages in the chat. I don't know what they look like, but in black and white, everything looks amazing. And while I've got the mic, I've got to cover one more thing. I know I'm pulling a pet. I know I'm taking two things because I'm
go ahead.
In the art of it. I'm going to share a panel. I actually brought it into the StreamYard so the guys could see it. And I texted it to you guys earlier this week. I liked it so much. That panel right there.
I think another panel. Yeah.
That panel of Wolverine, and you don't even get the context of it. And the context is like he squares up with Doom, and Zoom basically fries him and shoots him across the room. He's like, I'm going to take care of you, Wolverine, blah, blah. And just the art, the darkness, the determined pose, the eyes, and then the words. Easy or hard, it makes no difference. I will keep coming until I get you. Those are awesome words. It's like right out of a John Rambo movie. And look at that art. He's smoking. He's burnt. He's been hurt, and he does not give an F. He's basically saying, I'm never going to stop. I will never stop. And it's Wolverine, so he probably won't. I'm gushing a lot. I will put a pause on it. I will re-gush when it's my turn. But that panel, to me, took this book from really good to flipping great. I will end my glowing first round of just random gushing by saying we have covered in our X-Men run some famous X runs, right? We did Phoenix. We did Days of Future Past. These are X runs that even I know are famous, not even having read these things. This is a forgotten run. This Doctor Doom storyline is my favorite storyline that we have covered. This deserves just as much credit, if not more, than those other ones we talked about. Now, okay, Days of Future Past, I understand Jason's a bigger X-Men fan. It echoes forever, I think, their X-Men comics, and maybe this doesn't, but this has been the most entertaining story arc that I've read since we started the program. Jared, out.
Wow. I don't know what I'm hearing right now. I don't know if you've been swapped.
We're going to have to take a break. I got to get my thoughts together. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, man. It's good to hear, and just good to hear that excitement in your voice about this, Jared. And I think you're right. This little 3-part series.
Hidden gem.
The middle was all right. But I didn't mind that side quest. I guess I'll call it the side quest with Banshee and his team. It was kind of good to see that, a little different. But I did want to get to the meat and potatoes of this adventure with the standoff with Doom and how it's going to come down to that. I want to piggyback off of what you said with the art, and just this is awesome art all the way through this. Just looking at this is amazing to look at. And what I want to call out is you called it on the first page, but there are so many other good splash pages in this that are just awesome. Glennis Ween, man, the coloring she's doing, just making that art pop. I mean, you saw it in black and white, so you're seeing the straight colors, or you're seeing the straight, inks, but put some color on that, and oh man, this is so good. Jason, now that you got some time to gather your thoughts, what's a high, low, or what the?
Well, Jared hit the nail on the head. The last issue that we read, my main question is, what happened to Nightcrawler? How did he get out of the cage? And so many times you buy the next issue and it doesn't address that fundamental question. This one does, like cover 1. And it's just so amazing how Chris uses the character's abilities, all of his abilities, to make that ballsy leap, survive that fall, get back in, take out Doom's guards, and start that rescue. And so I'll just start right from the opening. That'll be mine. The Nightcrawler escape revealed, and boy, it was a good one.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was very cool, because you've always seen that, or at least in some of our readings, that he can only, teleport to places he knows or thinks of, right? So I'm wondering if with Storm doing this crazy stuff around him, and we come to find out that in a callback to a different comic book, I can't remember what comic book they call out. It's like number 66 of something. They abbreviated it, and I don't understand what it was. So maybe if somebody knows what they were talking about, where they actually had the plans for this castle, and that's how he knew that the mileage.
Yeah, Banshee had been there before, back in like X-Men 66 or something like that.
Yeah, but I really liked that they actually said, well, he can do this, but if he comes back in a place that may or may not be right, he could bamp into a building and be part of the wall or whatever, and that ain't gonna feel good. But he doesn't, and then he's got to figure out, now I'm basically skydiving without a parachute. And
it was gutsy. It was an all or nothing move.
Yeah, and is that storm maybe helping him out with the weather a little bit to give him some cushions? I don't know. But I kind of want to think she's doing something, and and was calling him out there to go, hey, you hear the storm? It's me. Just trust me and bamp outside or something. Let's go back to Jarrett. You got another high, low?
Oh, everybody relax. I got more.
Yay.
I will nitpick a little bit, but just for the sake of balance more than anything, I really like this book. Claremont did a great job on Nightcrawler's trap and Colossus's trap. It's kind of funny in the chat. Auburn Elvis says, hot take, Arcade really should have made Colossus's trap shoot the lasers at any sized object, not just Colossus sized objects. But I liked, it's funny, but I liked that trap because in Nightcrawler's case, he had to risk everything. He had to teleport blind and put his faith in just pure faith to escape. And in Colossus's case, he had to make himself vulnerable when he's most scared and wants to be strong. It forced him to do anything. The other two traps is Angel. So he's like, I have to learn to fly real good. Okay. It was really just more of a memorization game for him. I like the first two because they require a challenge to the mind, a challenge to the confidence. And I guess there's some confidence involved in Angels. And then in Wolverines, it's like, I should really just chop things with my claws. Like, okay, you ran out of ideas, did you, Claremont? Because that was
we got to move this along. So, yeah.
Like, we got to chop this story. Like, I would have liked to have seen the other two traps.
I want to play a Matt Murdock lawyer here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just a blind lawyer, Your Honor.
And defend this from you and Auburn Elvis. Because if you remember from the previous issues, Dr. Doom said, I've designed each trap so that they can escape.
Right.
And he wants to see if they will. And so that's why the rocks are Colossus size.
Oh, and I'm totally agreeing with you. Like, it requires a confidence. Yeah. He has to become weak. No, I agree with you 100%. That's a good trap.
Yeah. So the flaw was intentional. And for Wolverine, if you remember back to the Proteus story, which, as I recall, you love not quite as much.
It wasn't glowing about it.
But that was being that disoriented and having his whole senses overloaded is such a weakness on Wolverine's part that it was all about keeping it together enough to go with the flow and to finally take out the machine. It's just keeping it together. Yeah, so I think at the end, Doom was seeing, will they be able to push past these limitations? And spoiler
I just had to laugh because he's like, the solution to my puzzle is to chop this up with my claws.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean, that's the solution to pretty much all his puzzles.
That's his answer to everything. But fair enough. And then Warren had to memorize the fight pattern.
He's kind of lame. I think we all agreed on that, right?
It's like, hey, Warren, you got to balance your own checkbook by yourself without the help of your financial lawyers. Oh, no, I can't do it. So point well made. Like I said, I was totally agreeing with you on the Colossus thing. Like, I like the fact that he had to become vulnerable in a very frightening place where he wants to be strong. I think that's brilliant. But I just felt like Chris kind of had two really good ideas with Nightcrawler and Colossus, and like the Wolverine one was okay. And then I think he likes Angel about it as much as the rest of us. And the other nitpick I have, and it goes back because you got to remember I read both these issues back to back, and I was laughing at both of them because at least once in both the issues, Doom's like, man, weather outside is frightful. Could this have anything to do with this weather goddess? I'm like, Doom, Doom. You're one of the smartest men in the Marvel universe.
But he's smitten. So
you know, like, and everybody knows, like those two guys, those two guards that they took a couple panels to have them like chit chatting, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
by the way,
that was fun too.
Personality. They probably figured it out before Dr. Doom. Be like, something's not right. But
they're talking about like HR and just things.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. This is Chris Claremont using his powers for good. He's giving some extra words, but they're adding layers.
Yeah.
They're not basically just showing off his vocabulary. Again, I could gush forever, but you know what? I'll wrap it up by going to the end. I'm always excited about villains, air quotes. I mean, well, not air quotes. Dr. Doom is a villain, but I always like the ones who is like, he really only mixes it up with the Fantastic Four. He occasionally has run-ins with everybody else, but he's really the FF's villain, and this story really points that out. Like, the X-Men are like, we don't have beef with you. And he's like, I ain't got any beef with you. You know, and it's kind of like Venom is that way. Like, he just hates Spider-Man. He's not out to destroy anybody else. In fact, he's the lethal protector in his own series. He helps people. I like Lex Luthor. He's not out to destroy the world. He thinks he's doing right by protecting the world from this alien menace. I like those villains, and Doom is that villain. So I liked how it ended with them basically like, you know what? We're cool until you give us a reason not to be cool. And Doom was like, same. See you later. And I just thought, damn, good story. I gotta shut up. I'm doing it again.
No, I think you're right on that. That's a good catch on the kind of character that Doom has become, and to kind of cross over into other comics or other, superhero stories to see different sides of Doom and what he's into. I like that. I think you were spot on this ending that, he's not really an X-Men. He could be. He could definitely give them a run for their money. He's just got a beef with the Fantastic Four. He wants his lady and he wants to take Mr. Fantastic down.
Yeah, he's the Robert Davi James Bond villain. He's the Sanchez of the Marvel universe. Yeah. Like, he's not a good dude, but like, you can work for him. If you're loyal, he's going to take care of you.
Definitely. It shows that he's taking care of you right here.
I love villains with those layers, like Lex Luthor. Yeah, he's not a great guy, but if you thought about it long enough, you're like, I might work for him. I might, because he takes care of people. And it's just,
what's his 401k like?
I like a complex villain.
Yeah,
Hans Gruber, man.
Yeah,
there's a little part in every one of us that wanted him to get away with that robbery.
Yeah, kinda.
Like, if he wasn't hurting and killing people, I totally would want him to get away with that robbery.
Yeah, he's like, I just want the money and I'm out of here. That's all I want. I'm out. All right. Well, Jason, do you got another high, low, or what for this issue?
I think what I'll throw out here is that as an X-Men fan of long standing, my favorite moments are when Wolverine and Nightcrawler team up. They're one of the best team up pairs in comics, in my humble opinion. And getting to see them team up against Doom, and Jared showed that great panel. And then what comes after that is Nightcrawler popping in and blinding Doom by pulling that tapestry over him, and then the battle that ensues there. I was really excited to see that. It was so much fun. I loved it. So Wolverine, Nightcrawler team up. That's my high.
Definitely. That was a good show and good fight. I think this was definitely a good fight all around. And then you have Storm coming out of it, kind of just being overly powered and just, being angry. But yet then she shows her leadership skills in, calming down and actually, coming to a peace with Doom to say, here, this is what we came here for. Give us this. And the extra, I'm going to make him now apologize to Doom. And then we're out of here and we'll call it even. So
Arcade is such a turd, too. He's just a turd.
How he survived that with Doom, I have no idea.
I don't know.
That's my what the heck is Arcade doing alive?
Exactly. Where they made him apologize and he still called him Vic. Yeah. I was like, oh, don't let that slide.
Does anybody have anything else they want to say about this issue?
I don't know if I mentioned it, but I like this one a lot. And I want to revisit real quick the Wolverine panel that I glowed about.
Mhm.
It's those micro moments. Because if you remember, like we had that happen before when all the X-Men were kind of defeated and he was in the sewer and it's that very famous, he's looking at him and now it's my turn. And he ended up producing nothing. Nothing. This time he gets that badass moment that I shared with that panel. I don't have it up to quote it, but he's basically like, I will never stop. I will never stop. And then like Jason said, Nightcrawler came. I love Nightcrawler too. So good team up. And how did that end? That ended with Wolvie had Doom in a chokehold with claws to his eye holes. He's like, I told you I'd be back. I told you I'd be back.
He was Nolan Ryan to Doom's Robin Ventura, for those of you old enough to get that reference.
I'm just so glad that Claremont is getting a handle. Like I feel like we just saw the best parts of Wolverine that we will come to know. The tenacity and loyalty. Those are my favorite characteristics of Wolverine. And we got to see that in a micro moment. And I was very pleased to see again, but peek behind the curtain. I took a picture of that panel. I texted the guys. I was so excited last week when I was reading it. So, and that's just a micro moment. The whole book is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the story, you just want to keep reading. It's not the MC Hammercron Crystal or whatever it is that I gave up on. This is like very compelling story. This is Chris, top of the game. He's still doing it. I don't know if you know.
He's still doing it. He is definitely still doing it.
Just that's what I heard.
I heard that personally, but that's what he does. And the last part of it is we just have that one page with Scott yet, and he's still on that island. And now there's something else out there. I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, the B. I didn't even mention how good the B plot is, featuring my favorite X-Man,
the Cyclops. Yeah, with his lady friend and
Woody alone on a deserted island with Captain Forrester? The answer is yes.
I don't need to open my eyes to handle that situation.
Oh, yeah. So I'm looking forward to see what happens next on that part of it. Now that the Doom saga has kind of closed for this go round, maybe there's another one. I don't know, but I wouldn't mind seeing another Doom action going off against the X-Men. So it'd be interesting to see. But with that, let's go ahead and go into who went the extra mile for this issue. And we'll start with Jared. Who went the extra mile?
I'm torn between two. And what I'm going to try to do is pick the one that I don't think Jason picked. Okay, because I want Jason to have his. I suspect Jason's extra mile person probably speaks fluent German. So I am going to go with Wolverine for his badass moment that just took the book from, hey, this is really good, to like, yeah. And I think Matt Passo mentioned in the chat, he's not a big Wolverine guy. I'm not either. Like I like and respect Wolverine, but I always thought, it's easy to write the super cool guy character. But these are the moments where he earns that with the tenacity and the loyalty. And I like that. So I'm giving it to Wolverine.
Very good. Jason, are you going with Wolverine or did you have something different?
Well, there's a couple different ways you could have gone, but Jared's right. My choice was leaning towards our German friend who literally went the extra 2 miles straight up to escape Doom's trap and starts the chain of events that freezes and unites his fellow X-Men and helps capture Doom. So Nightcrawler gets my vote.
All right. And you two have picked two very good ones. So I'm just going to spotlight Storm on this one as well, because through the whole 3 stories, she's been doing something. And Jared kind of alluded to that before with Dr. Doom going, I wonder what's going on. Why is it raining and just really bad out here?
Some mystery.
That wasn't on my weather app before, but I don't know what's going on with this.
Not so much there, but here.
I'll fill in for Delvin, who, if he was here, would have definitely gone into his usual speech about how she's a alpha, gamma, beta level. I don't know what the levels are, but he's always like she's
omega level.
She's omega, level mutant and all that. And I'm picking on Delvin a little bit, but I mean, he's right. This really showed her in a state that was so worked up that a great Claremont storytelling technique, and I've talked a lot, I'm still going, was pulling that back and having, like, I don't remember if it was this issue or last issue, to be honest with you, but like NORAD was like, we're tracking this insane store
what's going on
here. like that gave it scope. You know, it took it from being just breezy outside the castle to like, this is being picked up by, this is huge.
Yeah, it's getting the eyes on it.
So
definitely.
Yeah, just another good storytelling technique to give it the scope that it needed to validate. Not that it needed any validation, but Delvin's always said, you know, she's insanely powerful. And Lord only knows what would have happened if he kept her in that statue state any longer.
Well, I was wondering that too. I'm like, what's happening? Because they kept saying too, things are getting worse outside. It's getting bad out there. And it was a slowly build up to it. So, you know, and you saw that she came out angry, but yet she also then calmed down. And that leadership moment, I think, you know, I'm not a leadership. Maybe there's somebody that does have some leadership skills that could say how she handled it at the end. I thought was very well. Yeah.
Pretty good. No, all right. You got me talking again. We're seeing the difference in the characters of Jean Grey and Aurora Monroe. I'm sorry, Pat, Oreo Monroe.
Oreo. Yep. Yep.
We're seeing it, the two differences. And the biggest difference is, and one of her strongest assets is that Storm has a tremendous amount of emotional intelligence. And she knows how to check her emotions and control them a lot more than Jean did. Now, it might be unfair because Storm's had this power set for her whole life. And Jean was like, went from a 2 to a 12
True.
You know, in an instant and just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But, you know, they were in the same place at one point of being overpowered by their own powers. And Storm has more emotional maturity to calm herself and realize what the greater good of the situation is.
I think you're right there. And I would agree with Delvin too, that Storm has some good assets.
I see what you're doing, and I like it, actually.
All right. Before we get Delvin in trouble or just having fun with him as well, let's go ahead and get into the ratings.
Wait, how did you blame that on He's not even here. Somehow you
I just picked up on that too.
Anyway, let's go ahead and keep going to the rating systems. It is a 1 through 5 rating on this episode. 5 is you loved it. It gave you a ring to swing from. 4, you really liked it. 3, liked it. 2, didn't like it. And 1, you hated it. It turned you into a baby and you were crying in a storm. Ooh, I don't want that. I'd get wet babies. Ooh. Anyway, let's go ahead and find out. Jarrett, how would you rate this on 1 through 5?
3.
What?
It's a 5. This is like you said, I can't stress this point enough. Phoenix Saga, the Days of Future Past, they get all this limelight. This is the best 3-issue arc. This is the best story arc I've read since we've started. Needs more limelight. People need to know more about this Doctor Doom story arc.
It does. I think you're right. This was a very good story arc. I'm going to give it a 5 as well, too. The art in this, the storytelling, the culmination of the 3 stories put together. It really came to a great ending for this one. Jason, are you at a 5?
I am. There are going to be no chumps on this one. Jared's right. This is a better story than the M-Crime Crystal storyline and some of the other classic ones that we've read. And I don't know if it's what the reason is, but here we get to see all of the X-Men working together. We get to see Claremont really diving into their characters and their powers, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun. And, you know, last thought too, talking about leadership, this team didn't know that the other team was successful. And that's so true. Another demonstration of Storm's leadership, she came back to her senses and her mission popped right to mind. And she said, there are people at risk. We've got to resolve this. And I thought that was really cool and a really cool way to end it. And just a nice little bit of detail that they don't know. They don't know that Team B was successful.
That is true. That is definitely true. So with that, 3 cool guys coming in at 5.
Finally.
So you know what that means. It's time to everybody get up. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will make you get down.
5 will make you get down now.
Get on down. Woo! Oh, man, we had a good episode this time around. I love it. All right. Well, with that, it's going to bring us to the end of this part of the show. You got a comment or a question, let us know. Let us know what you thought about this. Give us a call and leave us a voicemail. at 707-532-5269. That is 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
We will be right back.
Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr. If you're a history lover or a musical lover, you probably know about both Hamilton and Burr's rise to power in the early stages of American history and their infamous duel. But what if you didn't know the full story? What if one of them was a werewolf? White Rocket Entertainment proudly presents a 48-page full-color comic book, Hamilton vs. Burr, A Werewolf Tale. Written by Jared Albrick, the yard sale artist, art by Nate Niles, colors by Ace Wheely and Ken Solomon, letters by Percival Constantine, and edited by Johanna Albrick. Hamilton vs. Burr, A Werewolf Tale. Available digitally on Kindle and Comics Central, COMIX Central. Prefer a print copy? Hamilton vs. Burr, A Werewolf Tale, along with my other published works, are available at theyardsaleartist.bigcartel.com. That's theyardsaleartist.bigcartel.com. Or you can buy it directly from me, creator Jared Albrick, the yard sale artist, at any of my Comic-Con appearances. Hamilton vs. Burr, A Werewolf Tale. Get your copy today. You won't regret it. Don't take my word for it. Here's what Ming Chen from AMC's TV series Comic Book Men had to say about it.
I really enjoyed it. A lot of great werewolf scenes in here. A lot of great... this is how I wish history would be told to kids. Books like Hamilton vs. Burr, A Werewolf Tale.
That's Hamilton vs. Burr, A Werewolf Tale. Welcome back from the break. Let's get to the feedback part of the show where we share your comments, emails, questions, and shares in a segment called Crusader Comments. Of course, we are thrilled to kick off these comments with those special shout outs to those Crusaders Club members, the folks who are getting it done. They joined our crusade. They get early access to special long box episodes. They get to vote to determine show content. They get behind the scenes access. That's why we have people in the chat tonight that came in for that behind the scenes access of a live recording. These are all things we offer. And, oh, by the way, Crusaders Club members get priority seating to be guests on episodes. So there's lots of benefits. You know who's reaping the benefits?
No,
Jason.
Jared, who?
Oh, well, Jason's going to tell us. He's going to start the list.
And Helica Wolf.
Alburn Elvis in the live chat.
In the chat. Blast it or stash it.
Braxton Underwood.
Clinton Robinson.
Captain Entropy.
Dave Collins. Battle Wagon.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary V.
Gerald Green.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeremy L.
Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
Jim Meal.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Extra MVP Bright.
In the chat. Matt and Lissy Paso in the chat.
Mark Ross.
Maxwell Traver.
Miranda W.
P.B. Evans.
Paul Hicks.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Bob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey C7.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And the Toronto Cop. Of course, we miss anyone. We apologize. Remember, we record these well in advance of release. So if you're recent edition, we'll add you soon. But no worries. You can let us know we missed you by sending your hate-filled emails to contact@longboxcrusade.com. We will get it straightened out. You can become a Crusaders Club member by going to patreon.com/longboxcrusade for as little as $1 a month. You get access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. We encourage you to come check it out, to join these cool people that we have in our chat, and, be part of the process. I put out a poll today, Pat, over on our Patreon page. They're currently deciding what video game we're going to cover on our upcoming episode of Comics to Console Crusade.
Awesome.
So just one of the many benefits. You get to vote on show content. It's good stuff. Again, patreon.com/longboxcrusade. For as little as $1 a month. We'll take more. But hey, maybe just start out. Maybe just a little
foot
taste.
in the door. Yeah, just a little foot in the door.
And if you don't have any extra scratch laying around, but you still want to help us out, you can always write a review for the show on whatever platform you're listening to this on. We really appreciate those reviews. And of course, we are on YouTube. If you haven't already, do us a favor. Go check out Longbox Crusade on YouTube. Give us a subscription. We would really appreciate it. And now it is time to get into our shares and retweets. We're going to be playing a little bit of catch up on this episode. We're going to be looking at a little feedback, a little share, a little retweet for a couple of episodes. We're going to look at Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles episode 70, where we traveled back in time to December of 1980 to talk Spidey 214 and X-Men 143, and episode 71, where we went to January of 1981 for Spidey 215 and X-Men 144. All right. We lost Jason due to technical difficulty, so Pat and I will be doing the shares and retweets. Go ahead, Pat.
I'll start us off with Fan Film Fridays.
Outcasters. Beto Podcast.
Tim Price, the Pod Crasher.
Coffee and Comics.
Doc Strange. That's Billy Delicious.
Scotty Cameron.
Nathaniel Devon Mason Sanford.
You practiced that before.
No, I did. I just read it.
I'm impressed. Ed Moore.
Omaha Bound.
Days of High Adventure Podcast.
Chris at BTO and Bad Books.
Let it roll. Down the highway. It's been too long. Roll. Since Jason's not here. Oh, man, that felt good.
Oh, it did feel good. Thank you, Chris, for retweeting. We do appreciate it. And thank you for letting it roll.
Yes. University of Auburn, Allen. War Eagle, bud.
War damn me.
War Eagle, bud.
War Eagle.
Philip Walton.
Comic Foil.
Thomas Moore.
Chris Leiden.
Auburn Elvis.
Unpacking the power of the power pack because the power pack can't stop.
Can't stop. Man, we're getting a lot of throwbacks in here. Richard Dyson.
And Magazine and Monsters.
All right, let's get into some picked out comments. Let's go back to episode 70, and we've got some comments from Scotty Cameron. He commented in lots of different places, so I'll just kind of bring them all together. He said, great show, guys. Man, that Sandman costume is weird, and I don't like it. Scotty and I are in agreement on that. I prefer his street clothes with the green and black striped t-shirt. Also, that X-Men comic rings How the Xenomorph Stole Christmas to me. That's funny. Oh, wait, it's X-Men, so it'd be How the Brood Stole Christmas. Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. On a couple other locations, he had some other nice things to say. Gave some information on Lalira. She is the daughter of Lemurian, Lyran, and Rhonda Morris, who worked at the Oceanarium that Lyran was kept at, and Lyra overthrew King Carthan of Lemuria. I feel like I just read a Tolkien novel or something. And he also mentioned that he loved the bit about making fun of Trapster because he says, quote, my introduction to him was in the Superhero Squad show, and Abomination and MODOK made fun of him and particularly his real name. That was a good show. That was like a lot of inside geek humor on the Superhero Squad show. That was good stuff. So thank you for those are different locations. Scotty was out there supporting us all over the place. Thank you so much, Scotty.
Definitely. Thank you, Scotty. And I'll take one from Matthew Green, and he says it's issue 214 that got him into comics. So very cool.
Nice. I love it when, we have one of those issues featured that's really meaningful to people, except for Auburn Elvis. He gets real angry with us. I'm teasing because I'm kind of teasing. He does get angry with us. Yeah. But it's all in good fun. It's all from Spider-Man Passion and Love, and I can't be upset with that. And speaking of Auburn Elvis, on episode 71, he said, where we covered Spidey 215 and X-Men 144, he said, I've been waiting for this one. Must have been a big one for him.
Must have been. I'm trying to remember what it was. But
he also, he another one that he did multiples on. He did mention to me particularly in reference to our New Warriors show. He said another villain with apostrophe in their name, like Midnight's Fire. The number one topical ointment if you've experienced a burning sensation after touching the man thing. He's got jokes and jokes and jokes.
Yeah, so that's why he was waiting for that one. It's right. It was the man thing episode.
Everybody loves the man thing.
I'll take one from Tim Benson. Tim is our friend from Omaha Bound. He helps Jarrett continue to be fancy.
Fancy, yeah. He's my fanciness pusher.
Yep. He keeps your fancy pants on all the time. So Tim says, I'm about to start reading Amazing Spider-Man and just finished reading a bunch of Uncanny. So, woo, thank you. And we hope you are having fun listening along with us, Tim.
Absolutely. And our old friend Scotty did his Scotty thing and did lots of comments in lots of places. We really appreciate that. And Scotty said about episode 71, he said, Man-Thing looks like he's having a bad day. Luckily, a fellow Scott known as Cyclops is there to help him. Spidey and Namor don't look like they're having a good day either. He said, it's great seeing Jared come around on Chris Claremont's X-Men. Hey, I tell you what, Claremont delivers the product. I'm the first one to let you guys know about it. Man, I see where Terry's treatment of Dana and Batman and Beyond came from. Peter started it with Debbie. That is a deep cut. You have to be very familiar with this and Batman and Beyond, but I'm with you, Scotty. And he said he enjoyed the discussion about Spider-Man and Namor defeating the Frightful Four with Namor having the spider sense. Hashtag Debbie deserves better. And another comment about it's nice to see me liking the X-Men now. Well, I am. I'm loving it.
And I do appreciate Scotty. So, Scotty, some of those comments are coming from, he's responding to our Spotify episodes that are out there. And the questionnaire is, how did you like the episode? And Scotty has been replying to all of the shows there.
Yeah.
So I'm just starting to get those notifications in. So we will get them out as we can, Scotty. So we really appreciate you putting stuff out there to help us out on Spotify.
Definitely. Thank you, Scotty. And if folks out there want to be like Scotty, like the more places you can leave comments, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, it all adds up and helps with that algorithm. So thanks for that. And we appreciate it. And of course, if you don't like to type, you just want to say words, you can call our voicemail line. And I want to remind everybody too, that a lot of people are shy about the voicemail line because like, oh, what if I stutter, stumble, blah, 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 like I just did. Don't worry about that. We're going to edit it. We're going to make you sound as good as we can. Or, we've even had this happen in the past. Somebody left a message and I was like, wait, I don't like the way I said that. I'm going to call back and leave another one. Fine. Leave as many as you want till you get the way you like, but we are going to help you out. And the place to do that is 707-532-5269, 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
And I want to thank everyone for the likes, shares, and follows and comments. We appreciate your friendship in spreading the word about this podcast.
And that is the show. Be sure to check out the website longboxcrusade.com where posts will be made for journaling this crusade. I want to thank Jason for joining me on this episode, and a special thank you to those Crusader Club members that were in the live chat for this live recording just for them. We really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for showing up. Albert and Elvis, Kathy, Matt, and anybody else that watches it even later on because you couldn't make it. We still really appreciate it. And thank you for being a Crusaders Club member. Thank you for being part of the LBC family.
Absolutely. And Jason thanks you as well. I just got a text from him saying that he is hard down at this point. So passing along thanks from Jason for those who joined us live. Thank you, Crusaders Club members. Of course, if you're listening to this anywhere else, thanks for being here.
And with that, before we go, let's find out where the listeners can find us on the internet. We'll go to you, Jared, and then if you can tell us where Jason might be found as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason is Jason Albrick, and Albrick is ALBERICH, and that is on Instagram and Threads. I believe he's doing that.
I think so.
And I am at Yard Sale Artist on the more traditional ones. I am at X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, I encourage you to check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Or you can check me out at my local taqueria, where I had a carne asada burrito and a carnitas burrito today, and they were both very good.
I'm hungry now. You can find me on the Twitter, and I'm going to call it the Twitter until it's just going to be Twitter for me.
I'm retraining my brain to say X because I know they're not changing it back. So.
I know they're not going to change it back, but I'm just so used to it. So you can find me on the Twitter, or the formerly known as Twitter, at Christatos01. And if you want to interact with us live via live chats and be entered to win some free stuff on our live raffles, make sure you join us on our next episode of Doing It live stream on YouTube. And that is the second Sunday of every month at around 3:30 p.m. Central Time. So go and check out Longbox Crusade on YouTube. Please make sure you are subscribed. to the channel and that you click that bell to get all the notifications of when we go live or when episodes come out. And click those thumbs on those episodes. It really does help us get the algorithm matching on our videos out there to others as well. So we really would like that help. Thank you for listening. We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Amazing Spider-Man Chronicles. You got a comment or a question, email us at contact@longboxcrusade or leave a comment on the Longbox Crusade Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter page. They are all at Longbox Crusade. Until next time, take care, and please join us on the next episode as we continue on the crusade to
read them all.
The intro music is provided by musical genius Joe November.
Check out his SoundCloud at JOSEFLIN99. You won't regret it.
All songs, song clips, and characters discussed are copyright of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended. We are just fans that like to share our love of comics.
Outtakes.
I got to pull up my script here. So
get the script up, get the pants down.
I got the script up and the pants down.
Well, I see. I can't take the pants down yet because I may have to leave, and if I stand up,
then you'll be on the camera. You have to stand up. You know what? Why you doing that?
That may be more access than what
all the
else
access,
has.
Pat. And Matt, if you want to get a flavor for Crusade, just go on, scroll back in the feed. We started it in 2016, 17 was 17 the first year.
2018,
yeah.
2019,
all the way back to 2017.
Yeah. The OG.
So, it's a lot of fun. I love it every year. It's like an advent calendar of a podcast.
It is. It really is.
Like when it starts, you're like, oh, it's 12 days till Christmas.
We're 12 days away from Christmas. And then every night I go to bed and I'm like, I can't wait till the morning. And then I listen to, I remember that one. It's not as fun when you clean them, though.
You did a good job. I'm just got done with number 2.
Oh,
Pat got done with the number 2, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Cracking yourself up with that number 2 joke,
and it didn't stink.
Oh, good.
Oh, Pat,
I really crapped it out. So
I'm on the road tonight.
Kathy now owns over 160 comic books. When she first met us, she owned one, and it was Hamilton versus Burrow Werewolf Tale.
I saw her buy a Duran Duran one when we were at the con.
It was that's a Dan Parent homage to Duran Duran cover that he did. I think I was at that con where she picked it up, but I can't remember which one it is. Was that
the last Heroes con?
Was it Heroes that she picked it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she showed the picture the morning after.
You were just on fire.
Well, she didn't show it to me now. She saved it for the morning after.
Yeah.
Pat, you are hot tonight, my friend. I'm going to put the call out right now, the 707-532-5269. Albert Elvis has left many a message there that we've played on our shows. Matt Passo, I need you to drop a message for us. Kathy, drop us a message. Try to disguise your Southern accent, though, Kathy. I want to hear Kathy's message where she's trying to disguise the way she talks. I can't wait to hear what that would sound like.
Oi, it's me, Kathy.
From Down Under.
Down Under, y'all. Damn.
I
got you.
Braxwood.
Jason froze with Braxwood.
Braxwood.
It's just giving him Braxwood every time. Just put Braxwood. I love it.
It's starting to.
We made
if you guys don't just do it between the others, be here all night. Marcus.
Give us another one, please.
Marcus.
Do you believe? It sounds funny. Jason's not laughing, but it sounds funny.